There have been so many books made into films for various reasons. It could be that a filmmaker really loved a book and wanted to see it made into a film, but more likely the producers or the studio saw a best-selling book, figured let's make a film out of it. We have a built-in audience. People love the book. They're going to go see the film too. The problem is, it doesn't always work. And that's the topic for today's episode. This is the Kazdoy Closet. I'm Kazdoy. This is not my closet full of all the stuff that I love, but we will persevere until the closet is available again. Today, a book which I love and seems impossible to translate into a film, and that is Kurt Vonnegut's classic novel, Slaughterhouse-Five. Does it work as a film? Let's find out. Slaughterhouse-Five, the film, was made in 1972, and it's sort of a mashup of comedy, drama, war film, science fiction, even satire. It's about a main character, Billy Pilgrim. He's become unstuck in time. So he travels back and forth from life on Earth to life on another planet, from middle age to old age to as a young man in World War II, including as a POW in Germany during the Dresden firebombing. The director was George Roy Hill. He also directed The Sting, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The World According to Garp, and Slapshot. The screenplay, Stephen Geller. Didn't do really that much that I could find. He did write the screenplay for a film I kind of like called Pretty Poison. And of course the novel is Kurt Vonnegut Jr.'s novel. We'll talk about him in a little bit. The cast, the main character is played by Michael Sachs, who only made this film, and he was in Steven Spielberg's first feature film, The Sugarland Express. Then he kind of dropped out of acting and went to the financial field and apparently did quite well. Another actor I wanted to point out, and this he's really good, is Ron Liebman, plays the character of Paul Lazaro. He's a great character in the book and a great character in the film. And he was also in Where's Papa, and then in several TV shows like The Sopranos and Friends. But I think the real star of this film is the editor, Dee Dee Allen, for reasons I'll explain later on. And she was the editor for, are you ready? Dog Day Afternoon, Serpico, Bonnie and Clyde, The Hustler, and Night Moves. The novel Slaughterhouse-Five was published in 1969, and Kurt Vonnegut was one of the first writers I really got into. I'm not sure why. It could have simply been the book design, this is a different book design now, but the original book design and the illustrations caught my eye. So I ended up reading a lot of his books: Player Piano, Sirens of Titan, Cat's Cradle, Breakfast of Champions, God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater. And I even have a Kurt Vonnegut coffee mug. There is his picture there. And this is filled with some different lines from his books. He used a lot of humor in his books too, along with science fiction and social commentary. So all that mixed together I thought was pretty unique. And so I really liked him. I liked his short stories too. And I used some of his stories in school when I was teaching. I think that though all of his novels, his early novels, are really leading to this one. He was trying to process his experiences as a POW in World War II. And he lived through the firebombing of Dresden, which was in 1945. And they were all hiding in this Slaughterhouse-Five. And they came out, 100,000 people were burned in Dresden. Worse body count than in Hiroshima. And some of the characters in this book are based on people he knows or he knew. The main character, though, Billy Pilgrim, is really not Kurt Vonnegut. He's a lot different. But in the prologue to this book, Kurt Vonnegut's writing as himself, and he visits one of his old war buddies. And this war buddy's wife is not real happy about them about to make a film out of this book, because she said, you're going to have somebody like Frank Sinatra or John Wayne in the lead, and it's going to look very romantic, and war is going to be very glorified. And you guys were just kids when you were in this war. So she wasn't happy about that. But the film didn't do that. And I think that's one big reason why Vonnegut was very pleased with how the film came out. I've taught this book several times when I was teaching science fiction literature. It's challenging because it jumps around in time from place to place. And it was also a challenge to do that in a film format. And let's take a look at the film. So despite all the time shifting going on in the novel and in the film, because it jumps around in Billy's life, it starts with him as a very old man in New York. It jumps back to him as a young man in World War II, then to middle age in suburbia, and then to life on another planet. So even though it jumps around a lot, it feels cohesive. It doesn't feel confusing. It seems to make sense. And I think that's a big credit for the editor to pull that off. There's flash forwards, there's flashbacks, there are smooth transitions of visuals and sound from one timeline to another and then back again. For example, there's one part where he's walking with a bunch of soldiers down the tunnel to the slaughterhouse, and that transitions into nurses walking down the hospital later on in the film, when Billy is an older man and he has gotten into a plane accident. There's another part where he's suffering from PTSD. He's in the hospital right after the war, and they give him shock treatment, and the sound from the shock treatment transitions to the sound of a train whistle, and now we're back in Germany and the train is pulling into Dresden. So there's a lot of those scenes, transitional scenes back and forth, and it just works so well and so seamless, and all seems to make sense. Now at the end, Billy explains to his daughter what's been happening to him and how he's seen his own death before. And he talks about what the aliens on this planet Tralfamadore have taught him about life. And what they say is, and I'm going to read this, life is just a collection of moments, all strung together randomly. And if we're going to survive, we have to concentrate on the good moments and ignore the bad. Pretty good philosophy, not so easy to pull off, but the film does succeed in showing these different moments and how Billy is at peace finally at the end. So what's on this disc? Well, this is an Arrow Blu-ray. Arrow always does a good job. It looks pretty good. There are several features, including an interview with one of the actors. There's an interview with the producer's son, and an interview with a critic explaining what he thinks about the film. I think they're okay. I was a little disappointed there was nothing on Vonnegut or no footage of Vonnegut talking about the book or the film or anything like that. But, still, it was a good job. It's about $20, which is about half price right now if you want to get this on the Arrow Blu-ray. The DVD is about $10. You can also rent it. I think it's pretty much a classic, and I think it's really an underrated film of the 1970s, and I don't think it got the recognition it should have, but so it goes. That's an Easter egg for you Vonnegut fans out there and for fans of the book. So, what books do you think worked well translated into a film? I can think of a few, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to share that yourself. Or conversely, what books were made into a film and were really terrible? I can think of some of those also. So feel free to leave a comment down here or a suggestion. Leave a thumbs up. Don't leave a thumbs down. Subscribe would be great. Share this with your friends and neighbors. Otherwise, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.